All right, guys, welcome back. So today is 25th of February 2026. I was I closed from work morning schedule. I was going to see my boss in his office, and then I met a young boy that usually comes around to our sports complex to actually do sports with us and all that. Although I don't actually know him that much, but he approached me, greeted me, then he actually uh then I think he was not asking me think some certain question if I actually know about yeah. I said, Beth, you it's not cybersecurity that you actually need to actually what access the dark web. He now went ahead to say that uh now went ahead to say that he he's working on all this military hardware kind of stuff. Those were from what he was describing. I was not telling him that you don't need cybersecurity to actually get all these things. He went ahead and said that that he believes that that's what he need. As and I said no, and I said okay, that there are people who didn't do anything relating to computer science who are currently in tech, and are even making it big in tech than even those who actually studied computer science as a university 4 year course or 5 years course, as the case may be. You understand? So I actually told him that. So when I told him that, I also went further and I told him that, look, for instance, I'm into cybersecurity. The course I studied has no business with, uh, the course I studied was in the was in the medical sciences. It has no relationship with it has no relationship with tech. But currently I'm in cybersecurity and and all of that. So I went ahead, I continued to interview him. Now, why was I actually interviewing him? Because when he said cybersecurity, I wanted to ensure that, this young man is not about, spending 4 years to into starting something that will not really be beneficial to him. Then I asked him, I said, look at if a particular new course is actually what introduced into a university, the truth of the matter is that you will not get the best out of that particular course because it's just new. You What they are looking for is students. They might not be too grounded yet, on the basis that they might not have real time experts that will actually what teach those particular courses at that particular time. So even though the courses will be taught, but it will not be taught the way it should be taught. But it's with over time, experts who are well grounded in the system, then now begin to come and and start indicating interest and all of that, uh before the best service or the best knowledge in that particular field or in that particular discipline offer this kind of courses that you're talking about and might teach it better. You see, some of you might actually be asking why I was actually what asking this young man all of these questions. You see, the truth of the matter is that other than cybersecurity, I also happen to be a personal development expert. I help people fine tune their way into their career, their education, their jobs, relationship, life, and all of that. And all of such that he has studied about. He even gave me some chemical formula and all of such. I saw a young man who was gifted. From the way he was talking, I saw a young man who was gifted, and if he goes into military aspect of ICT, that he will go far. He will go far. That's what I just told him. I said, okay, what you have now is look for universities in these various nations that actually offers these courses, then apply to them, apply for their scholarship. That the truth of the matter is that these universities, if they see what you can do, they will be more than quick to accept you into their program. I gave him an example that the US, so he was not actually comparing those universities with the one we have in my country. I was not telling him that the truth of the matter is that the one we have in our country might not be bad. However, based on the fact that somebody who has been doing something for over 100 years compared to somebody who has been doing something maybe for just 10 years, you cannot compare the kind of result that these two people will have. The one who has been doing it for over 100 years and has more resources, more interest in it, sponsoring it with heavy, heavy budgeting. You can't compare it with the one who actually what has not done it up to 10 years and has less funding, has less budgetary allocation, has less attention given to it. So I explained all this to him, and I told him that that the reason why I strongly believe that he should go for the foreign ones or the international ones is that he will have more advantage in those particular one the than the indigenous ones. So let's connect this story back now to the concept of hacking. Now, this young man told me that, like I said earlier, that this young man told me that the reason why he wanted to actually learn cybersecurity was specifically for ethical hacking. That he discovered that getting into the dark web, that you need to know about hacking and all kind of stuff like that. And I told him that you do not necessarily need to know about hacking to get into the dark web. There are a lot of people who uses the dark web today that that knows nothing about hacking. I say, however, the the dark web is even more riskier than the normal surface web that we all are using. That I gave him a simulation of what an average cybersecurity expert who does investigation and gathering and the rest of them, that he uses his laptop. From his laptop, he connects to a virtual machine, and from that virtual machine he connects further, majority of the time, to another VPS. And from that, it is from that VPS that actually what does majority of the work that he or she intends to do. Then in some cases it's from the virtual machine that really what does whatever thing that he or she needs to do. So I now told him that, I said, hope you're seeing this now. This is 3 layers just to get one job done. And I told you that what this person is doing is legal, but he's still what protecting himself with three various layer of security. But you now, who is just thinking that maybe accessing dark web is just just via any browser, that it is not like that. So I gave him some few tips, and I told him that, listen, cybersecurity is good. What you should learn is learn the consumer side of cybersecurity, protecting yourself about to being safe online and all kind of stuffs like that, and focus on this your dream of becoming a ICT expert in military warfare, in military defense, and all kind of military stuffs. You understand? So I actually went further and I explained some certain things that that manufacturing some certain things that he thinks were very difficult. I gave him some formula in chemistry, and I told them that if you want, for instance, if you want to do this aspect of this kind of work, you need this in chemistry. But for you to control this now, for maybe something that's associated with distance, angle, then you now use the principle of physics to actually what modify all of those variables. He was not saying, he was not shaking his head and say, okay, yes, yes. So he even said that he actually made one invention, and the invention failed and crashed. And I told him what was the thing that made that particular invention not to actually what not to actually work. So that's how you actually what that's how uh you actually help people to not waste their time unnecessarily on things that do not actually that does not matter, on things that will not take them to where they ought to be as a person or as an individual. You understand? So remember that our beginner online cybersecurity class is coming up in March, April 2026. And